You have the power to shape your habits, and in doing so, you have the power to shape your life.
Wow, this has been like a total mind shift for me.
Right.
I feel like I'm seeing Welcome to a deep dive into the world of habits. Today we're exploring James Clear's Atomic Habits, and we're going to go way beyond just summarizing the book.
Right.
We're going to pull out those strategies and tools to actually help you reach your goals.
Yeah.
Whether you're trying to build good habits or break bad ones, we'll help you find the techniques that really click for you.
You know, it's really fascinating how Atomic Habits put so much emphasis on the impact of small changes.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to make these massive shifts all at once. It's more about those tiny, almost invisible improvements that you just build on over time.
Right. And it makes me think of that analogy Clear uses, heating up an ice cube.
Yeah.
Like you put all this energy into it, and for a while, it seems like nothing's happening.
Yeah, it looks the same.
Yeah. And then bam.
Yeah.
At 32 degrees, it melts. Yeah.
It's such a great visual, I think.
Yeah.
For understanding what he calls the plateau of latent potential. We may not see those results of our efforts right away, but it doesn't mean the work is wasted. It's all building up to that moment where the change becomes visible.
Yeah. And this is great for people like me who get discouraged easily.
Yes.
It's a reminder to just trust the process, keep showing up, even when you don't see those results right away.
Absolutely. You've just got to stick with it. And, you know, this connects to another powerful idea from Atomic Habits, the idea that our habits actually shape our identity.
Okay.
Each action we take, it's like a vote for the kind of person we want to become.
Okay, so I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Does that mean if I want to be a writer, just the act of writing, even if it's just a few words a day, is enough to make me one?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Yeah.
But the principle holds true. It's about consistency and alignment, right?
Right.
Those small actions, those votes you cast, they build up into a belief system. So yeah, consistently writing, even if it's just a little bit, can help shape you into a writer.
I like that. So it's not just about checking off tasks. It's about making those choices that actually reinforce the person we aspire to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do these habits actually form? I mean, how do we get from a thought to an action to a pattern?
Well, Clear has this 4-stage framework. Cue, craving, response, and reward.
The habit loop.
The habit loop, yeah.
We've all heard of it, but sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in that loop, especially with bad habits.
Yeah.
How can we break free?
Yeah. Well, let's take that first stage, the cue, right?
Okay.
It's that trigger, the thing that kicks off the behavior. Like if you're trying to cut down on social media
Yeah.
and your phone buzzes with a notification.
Oh yeah, big trigger.
Right, that buzz is the cue.
Yeah.
So understanding this, you can make changes like silencing those notifications or even like putting your phone in another room to reduce those cues.
So you make it less obvious, less tempting.
Exactly, less tempting. And the same thing works for building good habits. So say you want to drink more water.
Yeah.
You could make that cue more obvious by keeping a full water bottle right there on your desk.
Right where you see it.
Where you see it all the time.
I love it. Okay, so it's like you're strategically designing your environment to help you out.
Yes, set yourself up for success.
Yeah. My brain's already thinking about all the cues in my life.
That's great. So now let's move to the second stage, craving. This is the fuel for the habit,
Okay.
that desire that the cue ignites.
So in that social media example, the craving would be that urge to check your phone
Yeah.
and see what that notification is all about, right?
You got it. And this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Understanding the craving can help us either like turn it up for good habits or like turn it down for bad ones.
Okay, I'm listening. Now.
All right, so let's say you want to make exercise more appealing. You could amplify the craving by connecting it with something you love, like listening to your favorite podcast or audiobook, but only when you're working out.
So that's temptation bundling. Right. I've tried that before, and it actually works.
It totally does.
Yeah.
Right. And on the flip side, if you want to make a bad habit less appealing, you could diminish that craving. So if you're trying to like eat less junk food, you could just get rid of all those tempting snacks in your house.
Right, make it less accessible.
Make it harder to get to, less appealing.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Okay, so you strategically use those cravings, either amplify them for the good or diminish them for the bad.
Exactly.
Oh, this is really making me think, like, what's driving my own behavior?
That's the goal. All right, now the third stage, the response. This is just the actual habit, what you do, right?
Okay.
So picking up your phone to check that notification, taking a sip of water, or putting on your running shoes.
Okay.
But it's the last stage, the reward, where things get really interesting.
Ooh, I have a feeling you're going to say we make those good habits feel good, and the bad ones, not so much.
You are so on the right track. Reward is the satisfaction you get from the habit. It's the thing that makes you want to do it again.
Okay, how do we use that to our advantage?
So one way is to just make sure those good habits are genuinely rewarding. Like if you're trying to meditate, but you just find it boring and frustrating,
Yeah.
you're less likely to stick with it.
Right, so it's about finding activities you actually enjoy, habits that feel rewarding all on their own.
Exactly. But sometimes, even when we know a habit is good for us, those immediate rewards, they aren't that obvious or appealing.
Right. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we make those good habits feel more satisfying in the moment?
Well, that's where you can get creative. You can use external rewards, like treat yourself to something nice after a workout.
Okay.
Or internal rewards, like focusing on how good it feels to accomplish something, the sense of pride you get after finishing a task.
So you find those rewards, either external or internal, that really resonate with you.
Exactly. Make those good habits feel good, and then flip it, right?
Okay.
Make those bad habits less rewarding, less satisfying. Like if you're trying to watch less TV,
Yeah.
make it less fun by taking the batteries out of the remote.
Or putting the TV in a really inconvenient spot.
Yeah, exactly. Make it harder to access.
Okay, so increase the friction, make those bad habits less convenient.
You got it.
Okay, wow, this has given me a whole new perspective on how to approach my habits. I'm starting to see how I can use these 4 stages to really make those good habits stick and those bad habits just kind of fade away.
Yeah, that's great. So let's dig a little deeper into some of the specific techniques. Clear outlines for making those good habits stick and those bad habits disappear.
Okay, my brain is exploding with ideas for how to hack my habits.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? What are some practical ways to put these principles into action?
Well, one of the most effective techniques that Claire talks about is habit stacking.
Ooh, yeah.
It's deceptively simple, but super powerful.
I've heard of this. It's where you link a new habit to an existing one, right? After I brush my teeth, I'll do 5 minutes of meditation.
Exactly. You're taking advantage of a routine you already have, something you do without thinking, to trigger the new behavior.
I love it.
Right. It's like a chain reaction of good habits.
This seems so much less daunting than trying to change my whole routine all at once.
Right. Small changes, big impact.
Yeah. And speaking of making things easier, Claire also talks about how important it is to reduce friction for good habits and increase it for the bad ones.
Oh, absolutely.
So for good habits, it's about making them super convenient, super accessible.
Exactly. If you want to read more, have a book right there on your nightstand. If you want to eat healthier, stock your fridge with fruits and veggies. Make the good choice the easy choice.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
And then for bad habits, it's about making them less convenient.
Yeah, put up some roadblocks. If you are trying to spend less time on your phone, delete those tempting apps. If you are trying to curb your spending, leave your credit cards at home.
Make it harder to give in.
Exactly. It's like putting those cookies on the highest shelf, way out of reach.
Out of sight, out of mind. I like it.
Right. Be mindful of those triggers and design your environment to support you.
Speaking of mindfulness, I've tried habit tracking before.
Yeah.
But I tend to get so caught up in the numbers and I lose sight of the big picture. Any advice on how to use it effectively without going overboard?
That's a great question. Clear warns against that trap. He says, measurement is a tool, not the destination.
Right.
It's like a GPS. It helps you navigate, but it's not the place you're trying to get to.
Right. So use the numbers as feedback, a way to adjust, but not the only measure of success.
Exactly.
Okay.
The real measure is how these habits change your life.
Right.
How they help you become who you want to be.
This is a good point, a reminder to stay connected to the why behind my goals.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's be real. What about those days when I just don't feel like it?
Oh, yeah.
How do I push through those moments of pure resistance?
Willpower alone often just isn't enough. Clear talks about building systems, creating rituals that support those behaviors you're aiming for.
So it's not just about gritting your teeth and pushing through. It's more about creating those structures that make it easier to do the right thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
One thing he suggests is having a motivation ritual, something fun you do right before the habit you want to build.
Okay, give me an example.
So let's say you want to start writing every morning, but you have a hard time getting started.
Yeah.
Your motivation ritual could be making a cup of your favorite tea and sitting down at your desk with a beautiful notebook and a pen you love.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
You associate the writing with that nice, cozy feeling, making it more enticing to start.
Exactly.
I'm already thinking about my own motivation rituals.
That's awesome. But another challenge a lot of people struggle with is the fear of failure.
Ugh.
They're scared to try new things or push themselves because they don't want to mess up.
I'm so guilty of that. Fear of failure can really hold you back.
Absolutely. And Clear emphasizes that failure, it's going to happen. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
And he encourages us to embrace it as a learning experience.
Okay.
Like he talks about the British cycling team, right?
Yeah.
They had a long history of being, well, kind of average.
Okay.
But then they decided to focus on continuous improvement and saw failure as like valuable information.
Interesting.
And guess what? They became incredibly successful, winning all these Olympic gold medals and Tour de France titles.
Wow. So simple shift in perspective can really change everything.
It really can. He also says, adopt this mantra, never miss twice. So if you slip up, if you like miss a workout or indulge in a treat, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track as soon as you can.
So progress over perfection.
Exactly. It's about learning from those slip-ups and using them as fuel to grow.
Like giving yourself permission to be human.
Exactly. And remember that idea that our habits shape our identity?
Yeah.
Well, Clear says we can actually use that to our advantage by choosing habits that match the person we want to be.
Oh, so it's not just about doing things, it's about being that person.
You got it. If you want to be a writer, write. If you want to be healthy, make healthy choices.
It's so simple but powerful.
Right.
Okay.
Your actions reinforce who you are.
This is a huge idea, like aligning our habits with our values, our aspirations, who we want to be at our core.
Yeah, and it starts with a clear picture of that desired identity. Like, who do you want to be? What qualities are important to you?
Ooh, those are big questions.
Right. And once you have that vision, you can start picking habits that support it.
I love it. Building a life that reflects who you truly are.
Exactly.
This is so inspiring. It's a reminder that our habits aren't just about checking things off a list, but they are about shaping our lives and becoming the best versions of ourselves. But let's be honest, sometimes we get in our own way, right? Like the fear of failure, it can really stop us before we even start.
Absolutely, and Clear acknowledges that. He encourages us to see failure as a chance to learn and remember, never miss twice.
Yeah, progress over perfection. Learning from mistakes and using them to grow. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of strategies, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How do we make those positive habits, like, irresistible?
Well, one really effective way is temptation bundling.
Ah, yes. Linking an activity you want to do with something you need to do.
Exactly. Like only allowing yourself to watch your favorite show while you're on the treadmill.
I love it. That's perfect for those tasks we know are important, but we tend to put off.
It totally is. And let's not forget about the power of reinforcement, those rewards that solidify good habits.
Yes. Rewards. I'm all about celebrating those wins.
Me too. Clear explains that reinforcement is key to shaping our behavior. When we reward ourselves for those positive actions, we are actually strengthening those neural pathways, making it more likely we will repeat those actions.
So it's like giving yourself a high five, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Acknowledging the effort and like making that positive connection stronger.
Right, and the rewards don't have to be anything big or expensive. Even small, meaningful rewards can be super effective.
Like a relaxing bath after a long run, or treating yourself to your favorite coffee after a productive morning of writing.
Exactly. Find those rewards that really resonate with you and make those good habits feel even better. But we also need to talk about those times when our willpower just crumbles and we fall back into those bad habits.
Yes, those moments of weakness. What do we do?
Well, Clear suggests planning for those moments, anticipating them, and having a strategy in place. He calls them implementation intentions, and they are basically specific plans for how you'll handle those tempting situations.
So, like, if I'm trying to eat healthier, I could make a plan for what I'll do when I'm at a party and surrounded by delicious but not so healthy food.
Exactly. You could decide beforehand that you'll bring your own healthy snacks or limit yourself to just one small treat.
It's like making the decision ahead of time so you don't have to rely on your willpower in the moment.
Right. And those tempting situations become so much easier to navigate.
I love that. It takes the pressure off. Okay, so this is a great reminder that we can use a combination of strategies to support our habit change journey. both positive and negative reinforcement.
Absolutely. We've got a whole arsenal of tools at our disposal. So let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something really fascinating: the connection between our habits and our identity.
Okay, I'm intrigued. This is where it gets personal.
It does. Clear says our habits are more than just actions. They're actually votes for the type of person we want to be.
So like every time we do something habitually, we are reinforcing a certain identity.
Exactly. If you consistently exercise, you're casting a vote for being a fit and healthy person.
Wow, that's powerful. So it's not just about doing it, it's about being it.
You got it. And when our habits are aligned with who we want to be, it's easier to stick with them because we're not just doing something, we're becoming someone.
This is such a huge mindset shift.
Right.
It's about aligning our actions with our deepest selves.
Exactly. And it all starts with a clear vision of who you want to become. What kind of person do you aspire to be? What qualities do you want to embody?
These are big questions, but they're so important. Once you know the answers, you can start choosing habits that support that vision.
You got it. Building a life that reflects your true self.
This is so inspiring. It's like our habits are not just about checking off tasks, they're about creating a life that we love, a life that feels authentically us. But we can't talk about habits without talking about one of the biggest obstacles, the fear of failure.
Oh, absolutely. It holds so many people back.
I know, I've been there.
Yeah.
But Clear acknowledges this and encourages us to see failure differently.
Right.
Like not as a setback,
Right.
but as a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
And to never miss twice.
Exactly. Progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Learn from mistakes and use them to fuel growth. Okay, so we've covered a lot, but let's circle back to making those positive habits even more irresistible. What are some strategies we can use?
Yes. Tell me all the secrets.
Well, one really effective approach is temptation bundling.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Pairing something you want to do with something you need to do.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's like only letting yourself watch your favorite show while you're on the treadmill.
Perfect for those tasks we tend to procrastinate on.
Totally. And then there's the power of reinforcement, those rewards that help solidify those good habits.
Yes. Celebrating our wins along the way.
Exactly. Clear explains that when we reward ourselves for engaging in those positive habits, we're actually strengthening those neural pathways, making it more likely that we'll repeat them.
It's like giving yourself a little pat on the back, right?
Yes.
Recognizing your effort and solidifying those positive associations.
Exactly. And remember, the rewards don't need to be anything extravagant or expensive. Even those small, meaningful rewards can be super effective.
Like a relaxing bath after a challenging workout, or indulging in your favorite coffee after a productive morning of writing.
Absolutely. Find those rewards that make those good habits feel even better. But we also need to talk about those moments when our willpower just fails us and we slip back into those old, unhelpful patterns.
Ugh, those moments of weakness are the worst. What can we do?
Clear suggests anticipating those moments and having a plan in place. He calls these implementation intentions, basically specific plans for how you'll handle those tempting situations.
So, like, if I'm trying to eat healthier, I can make a plan for those times when I'm at a social gathering and there are all sorts of tempting treats around.
Exactly. You could decide in advance that you'll bring your own healthy snacks, or you'll allow yourself one small indulgence and savor every bite.
I love that. It takes the pressure off trying to make decisions in the heat of the moment when our willpower is weakest.
Exactly. Those tricky situations become so much easier to handle.
This is such a helpful reminder that we have a whole range of strategies to support our habit change journey, both positive and negative reinforcement.
Absolutely. We've got a whole toolbox full of techniques to help us succeed. So now, let's delve into one of the most fascinating aspects of habit change, the connection between our habits and our identity.
Oh, I love this topic. It's where our habits meet our deepest selves.
It is. Clear explains that our habits are more than just actions. They're like votes for the type of person we want to be.
So every time we engage in a habit, we're reinforcing a certain identity. Like if we regularly exercise, we're casting a vote for being a fit and healthy person.
Exactly. Your actions are shaping who you are. And when our habits are in sync with our desired identity, it becomes easier to stick with them because we are not just doing something, we are becoming someone.
This is such a powerful concept. It's about aligning our actions with our truest selves.
Exactly. And it all begins with a clear vision of who you want to become. What qualities do you want to embody? What kind of person do you aspire to be?
Wow, those are big questions, but they're so important to answer.
They are. Once you have that vision, you can start choosing those habits that support it, building a life that is a true reflection of who you are.
This is so inspiring. It's a reminder that our habits aren't just about checking things off a list. They're about creating a life we love, a life that feels authentic to who we are. But of course, we can't talk about habits without acknowledging one of the biggest obstacles that often trips us up, the fear of failure.
It's a real struggle for so many people.
It is. I've definitely been there. But Clear encourages us to see failure not as a setback, but as a chance to learn and grow. And remember, never miss twice.
Yes, progress over perfection. Learn from your mistakes and use them as fuel to propel you forward. So we've covered a lot of ground, but let's circle back to making those positive habits even more enticing. What are some more strategies we can use to really make them stick?
Yes, let's dive back into that. I'm ready for more tips and tricks.
All right, well, one really effective strategy is temptation bundling.
Ah, yes. Combining something we want to do with something we need to do, making those necessary tasks more enjoyable.
Exactly, like allowing yourself to listen to your favorite podcast only when you're working out.
It's such a game changer for those tasks we tend to procrastinate on.
It is, and then there's the power of reinforcement, those rewards that help solidify those good habits.
Yes, celebrating our wins and making those positive connections even stronger.
Exactly. Clear explains that when we reward ourselves for those positive actions, we're actually strengthening those neural pathways, making it more likely that we'll repeat those behaviors in the future.
So it's like we are training our brains to crave those good habits.
Exactly. And remember, those rewards don't have to be anything extravagant or expensive. Even small, meaningful rewards can be super effective.
Like enjoying a relaxing bath after a long run, or treating yourself to your favorite coffee after a productive morning of writing.
Exactly. It's all about finding those rewards that make those good habits feel even better. But we also need to talk about those moments when our willpower just crumbles and we find ourselves slipping back into those old patterns that don't serve us.
Ugh, those moments of weakness are so frustrating.
Oh.
What can we do to avoid them?
Clear suggests anticipating those moments and having a plan in place. He calls these implementation intentions, and they are basically specific plans for how you'll handle those situations where you know you might be tempted.
So like, if I'm trying to eat healthier, I could make a plan for those times when I'm at a social gathering and there are lots of tempting treats around.
Exactly. You could decide beforehand that you'll bring your own healthy snacks, or you'll limit yourself to one small indulgence and savor every bite.
It's like making those decisions ahead of time when our willpower is strong, so we don't have to rely on it in the heat of the moment.
Exactly. Those situations become much easier to manage when you've already got a plan.
I love that. It takes the pressure off. Okay, so we've explored a lot of strategies today. It's so encouraging to know that we have a whole arsenal of tools to support our habit change journey.
We do. And remember, we don't have to tackle everything at once. It's those small, consistent actions, those tiny course corrections that can lead to remarkable changes over time.
And it's about believing in ourselves, trusting the process, and giving ourselves permission to stumble along the way.
You got it. You have the power to shape your habits, and in doing so, you have the power to shape your life.
Wow, this has been like a total mind shift for me.
Right.
I feel like I'm seeing my habits in a whole new light. These tiny actions that shape not only what I do, but who I am.
That's what's so cool about Atomic Habits, I think.
Yeah.
It gives us this framework for understanding those little behaviors and how we can use them to make big changes.
You know, that plateau of latent potential really stuck with me. It's so reassuring to know that even when you don't see results right away, those efforts are still adding up. You know, you're working towards that breakthrough moment.
Absolutely. It's all about consistency. It's showing up even when it's tough or you don't feel like it.
Right. Trust the process. Believe those small actions will pay off eventually.
Yeah.
But what about those times when, like, we slip up, we fall back into those old habits? How do we get back on track without beating ourselves up?
Well, Clear has this great strategy for those inevitable slip-ups. He calls it the never miss twice rule.
Yeah, I love that.
Right.
It takes the pressure off, allows for a little grace.
Exactly. It's not about being perfect, it's about bouncing back. So you miss a workout, don't stress, just get back to it the next day.
Right.
Don't let one slip-up turn into a downward spiral.
Right, break that cycle of guilt and self-sabotage and replace it with, like, a more supportive approach.
Yes.
I'm definitely adopting that mantra. Never miss twice. Okay, but speaking of goals, one thing that really hit home for me was how our habits actually shape our identity.
Oh, yeah.
It's so empowering to think that we can choose habits that align with the person we want to become.
That's such a key takeaway from the book.
Yeah.
Instead of just focusing on changing what we do, we can actually change how we see ourselves.
Right.
And when those habits match up with our desired identity, it becomes so much easier to stick with them because we're not just doing something, we're being someone.
I love that. It's like we're creating this self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
By acting as if we're already that person, we start to believe it, and those actions become more natural.
Exactly. It's powerful stuff. It's all about making sure your actions are reflecting the values and the vision you have for yourself.
This is such a good reminder to like really get clear on that vision.
Yeah.
Who do I want to be? What qualities do I want to have? And then how can I choose habits that support that vision?
Those are the questions. And as you start living in alignment with that vision, those actions will feel more effortless, more joyful, because they're a true expression of who you are.
This has been amazing. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools to really take control of my habits.
I'm so glad. And remember, you don't need to make drastic changes overnight.
Right.
It's about those small, consistent actions, those tiny course corrections that add up to big transformations over time.
And believing in yourself, trusting the process, and giving yourself permission to stumble along the way.
Exactly. You have the power to shape your habits, and in doing so, you shape your life.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of atomic habits. We hope you found it insightful and empowering.
It's been a pleasure exploring these ideas with you.
Remember, small changes can make a big difference. So start small, stay consistent, and watch yourself grow. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.